What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Modern Mortgage Show, where I interview mortgage professionals who share their stories and modern information about the industry. I'm your host, Rocco, and I'm very, very excited to introduce my guest for today's show. His name is John McDade, and he's the director of VA lending at Success Mortgage Partners out of San Diego, California. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rocco. Thanks for having me this morning.
I really appreciate you being here. So, John, why don't we just start out the show? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a brief introduction of who you are?
Yes, as you said, I'm the director of VA lending for Success Mortgage Partners, and I have been in the industry 45 years, and of course have seen numerous changes. And I think that the VA loan is the most misunderstood product that we offer in our industry. And my goal is to correct these misunderstandings and to get VA home ownership with the VA loan to a greater percentage. Right now, it's between 11 and 15% of the eligible vets that have used it, and we need to get that up to 40 to 50%.
Mhm. Absolutely. So, you've been in the industry for 45 years, you said?
Yes.
That's insane. So, did you do anything before you got into the industry?
I was in the Air Force, and
Oh,
I got out of the Air Force, went back to Pennsylvania, and immediately moved out to California and worked at Bethlehem Steel for a short period of time, and sold office supplies where I opened up an account for a mortgage company and talked to the manager and got very, very interested in what they were doing and the fact that they offered the VA loan. Now, I'm a veteran, didn't even know that
yeah.
I had the VA loan opportunity. On my out package, I got a little green half sheet of paper called a certificate of eligibility. Had no idea what it was. So that was last month or in February. That was 45 years ago that I got in.
Wow. Well, thank you for your service, first off.
My honor.
So, as a loan officer, and being in this industry for so long, you've gone through a lot. Um, how would you say what we're going through right now compares, and what are you doing to get past this uncertain period of time?
Well, I don't think it compares to anything I've never seen where our entire economy has been shut down. But there is still
Mm.
business being done. We do a lot of active duty military loans, and of course, there's not going to be any interruption. I think what we have to do is continue doing what we always did: do our job to the best that we can, and do it under these circumstances. And it will pass. I remember when we had government interest rates at 18.5%.
Hmm.
And that passed. So this too shall pass. We will get back to a normal marketplace, and we just have to be able to wait it out, have patience, and don't get frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with what you're seeing right now, when this all does pass, what do you see happening in the future?
Um, I see a very good market. I see home ownership increasing. I think this is going to possibly slow down the rapid escalation of prices, at least until we have the demand uh, outstripping the supply. I think right
Hmm.
now we don't have that right now, and that's actually a good thing. We
Hmm.
don't want the prices to escalate so much that the middle class can't afford to buy a home anymore, especially out here in California.
Absolutely. So, what would you say is the most satisfying or rewarding thing about helping the vets, achieve home ownership?
Um, Helping a vet, it's a passion. Um, I get a lot of people calling with questions, and I realize that there's a veteran that needs help that has a problem on the other end of that call. And there's no greater feeling um, than to help a veteran because of everything they do for us,
Hmm.
and that it's just so gratifying. And uh, it's the best performing loan in our industry.
Yep.
People talk about, oh, it's a zero down, it's too risky. Not at all. Not at all. It's it's a great loan for great people.
Absolutely. So, shifting gears here, when you first started out in the industry, 45 years ago, what were some, struggles or, obstacles you'd faced early on?
Well, just getting started,
Yeah.
learning a new industry. Back in those days, we made calls on real estate offices. It was totally different. My manager, the guy that hired me, a gentleman named Don Robinson, uh, Don really taught me how to be a professional loan officer and taught me uh, really what it took to succeed.
Hmm.
I had to make 20 calls a day on real estate offices.
Hmm.
And I don't think a loan officer today makes 20 calls a quarter.
Hmm.
And, but, it's the business isn't hard, it's time consuming. And you
Hmm.
have to be able to give it the time. And you have to learn what you're doing. Knowledge is power. If you're going to
Mhm.
affect somebody's life, know your product and know how you can best help them make the right decision.
Absolutely. So if you were to give, someone just starting out as a loan officer, just starting out in the industry, what advice would you give to someone like that just starting out?
I would advise them to develop um, their ability to develop their plan based on their own personality. Don't try and
Mm.
emulate what somebody else is doing. You have to do what suits your personality best, and you have to do it continuously. You have to develop that consistency, and you have to be comfortable, because if you're trying to emulate somebody else, you can see right through that. And just be yourself and work hard. And
Do you recommend getting like a mentor or coach like you said
abs-
you had?
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. You find out who the most successful person in the office is, and you take that person to lunch. You find out, okay, excuse me, what is it that you do, and then you figure out what would make you the most comfortable. And because not everybody does it the same way,
Mhm.
but everybody does it a lot when you become
Mm.
successful. So find out what works for you and continuously do it.
Definitely. So in recent years, and you've been in the industry a long time now, so it looked completely different when you started, but in terms of technology. So how is technology from when you started or just recent years, how is it, how has it affected you and your business?
Well, of course, when I started, the fax machine hadn't even been invented yet, and now the fax machine's obsolete. So, yeah, we had a pen and a calculator, and we still had carbon paper. Uh, so, yeah, technology is extremely important, and if you don't stay up with technology, you're going to fall behind the industry.
Mhm.
Uh, Look at some of the things now, like our Success Express and Rocket Mortgage and stuff. You can have a loan approval within 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And back when I started, you had to mail everything into the agencies,
Mhm.
and you couldn't do a loan in under 60 days.
Hmm. So it's definitely made things a lot quicker, a lot more streamlined and automated.
And
Um,
quite frankly, added a lot of stress, because now the expectations are far greater than they
hmm.
were before. So, and that's why technology keeps evolving to try and uh, decrease the time frames and hopefully decrease some of the stress.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. The expectations definitely shot up.
Oh
And
yeah,
like you said, you must adapt to it because it's always evolving. And if you don't adapt, you'll be left behind. So it's definitely you have no other option but to adapt to it.
correct.
Um, are there any strategies, any modern strategies you're using right now to scale production, maintain better relationships, or just organize your business in a better way?
Well,
Systemize things?
I really don't originate loans anymore.
Okay.
My job is to grow the VA program at Success, and uh,
Oh.
my organization is fantastic. They are so dedicated to the veterans. Our founder, Vince Lee, is a veteran, and what a magnificent man. This organization, oftentimes, basically everywhere else I've worked except for here, there's a struggle of operations against production. Here we don't
Mm,
have that. Here we're all one team pushing in the same direction, and we all get along, and that's the attitude that the management team fosters. And our operations are, they will do everything they can to get a loan through, and there's
mm,
no absolutely no us against them, and that makes things fantastic. But my job, I go all over the country to and do seminars for realtors about the advantages of the VA program, and I tell you, they have no idea uh, what advantages this program offers, and they have been poisoned against it by other people in our industry that
mm,
don't understand the VA program. I think first and foremost, the people in the mortgage industry really need to study this program and discover the benefits so they can serve the veteran community. I've heard of loan officers trying to talk realtors out of doing a VA and putting the people into an FHA. And
mm.
that to me should be illegal.
Yeah. So when did you get started at Success Mortgage Partners?
I've been in Success a little over a year,
Okay.
and it it has been the best year of my career. Uh,
Hmm. Yeah, and
these people are incredible.
we were talking before the show about the VA loan a little bit. Um, so definitely a lot of loan officers offer the VA loan, but not many of them know the ins and outs of it and actually know it from the top to the bottom. Um,
Correct.
so you said you travel all over the country to
Correct.
talk to real estate agents. How many do you do a year?
Well, before this thing had hit, let's see, I did three, four, five. I did 12 so far this year,
Oh,
and
wow.
in different states. And yeah, they're a lot of fun. And I have a PowerPoint that we developed several years ago that really explains the benefits of the program and what you can do with the program in really easy to understand terms.
So so how long are the seminars typically?
Generally lasts about 2 hours, and
Okay.
sometimes 3 hours in the states where I'm approved for continuing education.
So can any realtor sign up for the seminar, or how does that
Any
work?
realtor, any realtor, absolutely.
And
And
where can they find some
we also invite other
information?
lenders.
Oh, really? So it's not just
Absolutely,
realtors.
yeah. We and it's a great recruiting tool if a manager is trying to recruit a loan officer. Bring them in, and I guarantee you, when that thing is over, people understand when they leave that room that Success Mortgage Partners knows the VA program.
So you're doing these quite
Yes.
frequently. You've already done 12 this year. Um, so how can people find out more? Realtors and stuff like that.
Well, all they need to do is contact the Success Mortgage Partners office in their vicinity, because that's who really puts it on, our branch office. And we advertise it and send email blasts, and everybody that attends the seminar, by the way, they get a completion certificate and they get a copy of the PowerPoint. And of course, in the states where I'm approved, they get 3 hours continuing education.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, so going back to technology a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
where do you see it all going in the future in terms of technology and how it impacts the mortgage industry specifically?
Well, technology has a tremendous impact on the mortgage industry. I just hope it doesn't go so far that we lose the human touch,
Mhm.
because this is still very much a people industry. It's not really a real estate transaction or a finance. It's an emotional transaction.
Mm.
People that are buying, especially first time home buyers. So I do think technology will improve some of our processes. I just hope it doesn't eliminate the need for the human touch.
Yeah, and we've discussed this. I've discussed this with other people I've interviewed on the show. It definitely technology. It makes things quicker. It streamlines tasks, automates things. But I don't feel that the human touch will ever go away because I
I
feel
hope
like
not.
there's always going to be that human element into it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's an emotional transaction, and uh, somebody they need to have somebody that they trust, that they can get their questions answered, and um, that basically has their back.
Yep, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit more about the VA loan. So, before
Mhm.
the show, we were talking about it. You think it's the biggest misconception loan product on the market?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
why do you feel that?
Well, because when you talk to people, and like listing agents will say, "Hey, I'm not going to sell to a veteran because my seller's not going to pay those fees." Well, they don't
Hmm.
have to pay those fees.
Yep.
If we itemize the fees, the borrowers can pay up to 1% of the non-allowables, and so why not do that? Then the buyer ends up paying less than if they paid the 1% origination, and the seller pays nothing. Nobody loses.
Hmm. Yeah, and we were saying before the show how most vets don't even know that they've earned this benefit. You said
Exactly.
that too. Where do you think the blame lies there?
Well, I think when when people are getting out, that they should bring in that base should bring in a local mortgage professional, a local real estate agent, to explain benefits in home ownership and to explain the VA loan to them. They would understand a lot greater. I was given, when I got out, was a green half sheet of paper called a certificate of eligibility, and what's this?
Yeah.
I had no idea what it was until I got in the business.
Hmm. And what do for the vets that do know about the VA loan, what do you think is a big misconception that they have about it?
I don't think the vets really have a misconception, and they want to use it. It's it's the real estate community that uh, doesn't understand it, and that's why I'm doing these seminars to bring this information to the real estate community as to how beneficial this program is, and not only to the veteran but to the realtor too. Think about it. It's a fixed rate assumable loan. So let's say the rates go to 6.5 a couple of years down the road, and you're sitting there with a 3.25 VA. How much more would that be worth to the realtor and the seller to have somebody come in and assume that?
Hmm.
So there's a big advantage to the real estate community right there.
So I guess to end the show here, my last question would be, what's your goal with all of this and going and doing all these seminars and educating the real estate agents? Is it to bring awareness? What's your end goal or your long term?
Well, I've got a couple of goals to bring about awareness to the real estate community about how valuable this program is, and of course, my goal is to make Success Mortgage Partners a major player in the VA loan program. And I really would love to see uh, upwards of 40 to 50 or even higher percent of the eligible veterans using it. People in the reserves and National Guard don't realize they can use it. There are certain people that work for Health and Human Services that have never served that are eligible for VA loans. And we need to get this information out.
So your goal is to make it about 40%. What is it right now? You said like a
Between
15%?
11 and 15%.
That's ridiculous.
5 years ago, it was 4.5%.
Wow. So
So
we
it's
did make
really
some
come up.
progress.
Yeah, we've made great progress. So, we want to continue this progress and maybe even speed it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's bring awareness and shoot this up to a whole nother level.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Well, John, I really want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I had an amazing time speaking with you and discussing all this, and I really, really appreciate your time.
Well, thanks, Rocco. I appreciate you having me.
And thank you to all the viewers for tuning in, and we'll see you again next episode.